welcome back to Unauthorized Trains. Is that a sign?
Yeah.
uopod.com, Andrew says TV.com, all the .coms, audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, and even iHeartRadio. We even love you, all the boomers on there. X, YouTube, and Rumble. Uncle Hack is in the house. He's in his house. He's in somebody's house. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, and aside from the fact that I recorded a whole podcast and had no audio, this was really a show about you, to see how you were doing.
Yes, the text messages are very clear. Please do a podcast with me. I'm desperate.
There was one please, out of politeness.
So
and
you're welcome.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
But the first thing, and I'm going to be very well versed in these topics, having talked about them with myself already today. The first thing that I actually brought up, not planned, was the latest and greatest of what I thought was the country being done with trying to cancel you guys, the Danger Cats. And this is hilariously off of a website. It's called saltwire.com, the Chronicle Herald. And I read through this, and of course, they're really rehashing. I was impressed with how much was able to be rehashed in this. So I'm just going to read some of it, and then you tell me if anything happened differently on your side. So It's a Halifax bar canceled an act booked later for this month after an intense and negative backlash from the public. The Oasis bar had booked the Danger Cats comedy group May 23rd, but opponents described their material in many ways, including controversial, hateful, and bigoted. On April 30th, the bar had reposted a Facebook post from one of the group's members that was originally made on April 22nd. On Sunday and Monday, it seemed that the post was noticed and reaction was not kind, with multiple people. That's interesting. That means more than one. Multiple people saying they would no longer frequent the business. It was also the reaction on a thread of Reddit. Now, my first thought on that, Hack, is that I have never thought that if a venue books somebody I don't like, if Trump at Madison Square Garden, Taylor Swift at the Rogers Center, I'm not going to say I'm never going to go there again because they played Metallica 2 nights in a row and I hate Metallica, so now I can't go back there. If this bar hosts Amy Schumer and her gut 3 nights in a row, I don't care. I just won't go to those shows. So Isn't that a sign in and of itself that this is not like not people who are comedy fans?
Yes, and I think it's I don't know if it's like them not being comedy fans, but they've attached themselves to some these like social issues that they think that we're somehow a part of, because the main rhetoric that they were using is Nazi. They were saying that Oasis is a Nazi bar now because I'm showing up, and that I'm a Nazi and I'm a fascist. And they used that verbiage to like pressure them into dropping the show. And on top of it, it was admitted from the bar owner to me that these people were like threatening the venue. They were threatening to show up and firebomb the joint. They were threatening bartenders that they were going to hurt them. And on top of them, slandering them with the label Nazi as well. And like, we're talking like staff that is very multicultural on top of it. So they were just essentially, just because of their hatred towards us, then this was just a reason to go and like harass these people. And they did it not only to them, but they did it to 4 other venues on top of it.
Some of what they wrote here has to be, and I write a lot of news articles, has to be funny to the person who's writing this, and that should be a sign that they're not doing the Lord's work, let's say. Well, the first thing is that they lie about a couple things, or they're just unaware. They go back to the Robert Pickton stuff from Sam Walker, which was explained years ago, that he was actually saying that they didn't find the people who were responsible for a bunch of these bodies, and he actually blamed the government and like police and the news media. He didn't blame any victims. So that's the first thing they say here, was referencing the victims. I guess it was a crime to reference them. Other posts talked about the group's connections to Diagolon, a group linked to it is my understanding that Diagolon is not a real thing, and it was started by like the CBC, and then these people just said, okay, we'll go with what you guys are saying, and it's basically a joke that turned into an extremist group. It's my understanding. But when we get to the funny part here, is that they say on Canadian Anti-Hate Network is insane, but they say they claim, the Danger Cats, on one of their podcasts, members, quote, have claimed that a porn operation was a Jewish psyop, and members of the trio have also complained about losing comedy opportunities in favor of trans and gay women. It is also said one member has used social media to share Holy Ghost denial. For the audio listeners, that's we're replacing the word there for YouTube. Holy Ghost denial memes referring to himself as a racist, and images that accuse 2S LGBTQ plus people of diddling kids. Now, I'm just a guy, but if I'm writing an article about somebody that it's basically a hit piece.
Yeah.
And I see that Joe Biden said that Donald Trump is an dirty, smelly, orange face guy. I'm going to be like, is it possible that was a joke? So when I am typing out accusing people of diddling kids with the apostrophe, I'm thinking maybe this isn't the serious fascist group I'm thinking of.
Plus, could you make me sound any cooler?
This as continuously will make people more fans when they say things like this. And the excuse was, they go on to say, the booking was made through our standard review process. We were aware that the performers had an edgy and provocative style, which is not uncommon in the comedy scene. However, further information has come to our attention regarding the group's associations and the nature of some of their content. After careful consideration, we've decided not to proceed with the event in order to remain aligned with our venue's values and the kind of community environment we strive to foster. Again, so is Madison Square Garden not fostering a good community by allowing Donald Trump to be there? Is the Rogers Center fostering a community of annoying young white girls by allowing Taylor Swift to be there? I don't see how this becomes incumbent on a comedy club to be the arbiters of what people say and hear. Or else you have to critique everything. Should people be submitting a list to a comedy club about what are your values? What are Joe Rogan's values? And what are these clubs' values? You know, is there any way? It makes me think, Hack, that Canada's kind of far behind in this.
I always say that Canada is 4 years behind the United States, and I've been saying that now for the past decade, and I think it's true because there's now I'm noticing people are getting tiresome of a lot of this, what I would describe as screeching, because it's useless and it's pointless and it gets us nowhere. Because now what you've done is you've forced the hand of the venue to submit to a crowd of people that weren't going to be patrons to your bar. I seen a comment that made me laugh, and it was like, I haven't been at this bar for 10 years and I won't be going back now. And it's like, oh, did you? Oh, really? You know, because me as a manager, I was sitting around and I haven't seen this person in a decade. And I was thinking to myself, why haven't they been here? And now they're not going to come down. Oh, fuck me. What are we going to do? We better change our values so this fucking slug can drag its mitt down here. Yeah. Okay.
Its mitt.
Yeah. That's what they were all gathering around for the past 10 years thinking, why hasn't Shirley dragged her gun off the couch and come down here and eat our fucking chicken wings? Is it because we brought this group that they're calling a neo-Nazi and now she's definitely not going to come? Oh, what are we ever going to do?
I saw Dan Aykroyd in 2002 and I won't be back.
Yeah, exactly. Like, shut your hole. You're enough with it. You're doing nothing. Oh, you did it. Oh, God almighty.
What's still impressive to me is that there's still a pipeline of weirdo activist to CBC to comedy club that still seems to be present. That was present 4 years ago when they started attacking you guys.
Yeah. Well, because the people writing those articles are connected to these woke comics. That's the bridge. That's what caused it. There was one, I'm not going to get into the dirty deets of it, but there was a comic out east that was yapping with a reporter that
Name names.
Nah, I don't want to give that guy any light. He's a dumbass, and we got our moment in the sun when we confronted him. So
okay. It's out there then.
It is, yes. But his best friend just so happened to be the journalist that was writing both articles
Mm.
about us when we were going to Hamilton. And then it came out that yes, he was aiding this person with information, and then wouldn't go on record though. Would talk to her because she had mentioned in the article she talked to several comedians, and so a lot of them didn't poke their fucking neck out, but they seem to have a lot to say behind the scenes because they know it'll affect their career. But meanwhile, we'll do these things out in the open. I'll talk about it. I don't want, again, I don't want to name names because that's just like, that's kind of contrary on what I'm trying to tell you here is that these guys are uh, deep down, they're cowards and they won't step forward and stand on their word. So, and we go out, we're doing the same thing. We're telling jokes. No matter what the genre of jokes is, we're doing the same thing you are. So what's the problem? Why do you hate us?
Their jokes are different from yours, so they hate you. I made the
No, their
similar.
jokes don't sell tickets. That's why they hate us. They're doing open mics, right? To 5 people that are, they don't want those jokes. They're there because hey, a friend said, hey, let's meet up at this pub. And now all of a sudden, hey, the show's going to start in 5 minutes. And like, oh, for fuck's sakes. And then you feel awkward because like this fake niceness that we have, instead of just being like, no, I don't want to sit through this shit and getting up and going, they'll sit there and be like, oh, okay, we'll give this a half an hour and then slowly peter out.
I
Anyway.
made. I was no, I was thinking along the same lines earlier that, and in the previous recording of this episode, the people who write these hit pieces, 75% of the time, it's either a person that was made up by the publication, which I think this one might be. It's an Ian Fairclaw, wrong thing here. Second, Ian Fairclaw, no name or no picture, or anything there, an email, no Twitter or anything, or it's done under the website's, staff banner or something like that, or there's no author at all, which is kind of the same thing. And a lot of the times that what happens, the reason behind that's most frequent is because they don't want to deal with the backlash. But I recognize that there are levels where it's like, we're going to write about a terrorist Islamic group who may or may not threaten my life. Okay, put it under the staff banner there, or a fake name or whatever. But when we're talking about I'm trying to ruin somebody's life, essentially. And then I noticed that they said at the bottom of this article, you have dates coming up at different bars.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
and the reason that is because they want people to complain to those venues as well. When you come out and say that these people are linked to right-wing extremism, it's not because you want to promote the upcoming tour dates. It's because you want people to reach out to those ones too, because those are the people that are complaining about this. So while I recognize there are some times where it might be appropriate to hide your name for your safety, there's also a bravery to showing your name in those circumstances. Complaining about a comedy club is kind of the cowardly side of things, I would say.
Yeah. Well, Oasis isn't a comedy club per se.
Mm-hmm.
They host comedy nights. It's more of a pub and grill. But no, and here's the problem I have with my main gripe right now with this is I get read this, or told, I guess I shouldn't say read, but I get told that, you know what, we believe in free speech and all this, and it's these people that lean that way, that as soon as their feet get held to the flames a little bit about this, they fold the fastest. And that's what kind of irritates me is it is like, well, as a business, and it's like I get that part, but then save the other bullshit that you're gonna tell me to like try and make me feel good. You got a bunch of emails. Nobody's coming to fucking do anything. Nobody has done anything. So what? They show up with signs. We've been protested 4 or 5 times now. You want to know what happens? They come outside. They're out there for 20 minutes. They cause a stink for people walking in, and then they leave. And the show goes on without no problems at all. I watched the last time we got protested. I watched these people. They showed up. They were there for 20 minutes, and I watched it all go down. I was in this nice little perch looking down upon these people.
I remember that.
Yes.
From like the parking garage.
Yes. And immediately, as soon as it was over, they were like, we overheard them, and they were like, oh, well, there's another protest down the road. So they're just perpetual protests that just went to a new one. And like, what did they exchange the signs? Did they have something written on the other back end of it? Like, so they're just perpetual protesters that show up to whatever's, we got something to fight against this week, and losers.
We got the Tesla protest east, but we could make the Palestine protest at 4.
Yeah, that's literally it.
That reminds me, something I was asking. I was asking another comedian about this recently, and he said he hadn't really noticed it. Have you noticed that the protest class has become almost an exclusively boomer class? Have you seen this phenomenon? I guess you're not plugged in to the insanity that I might. I'm seeing tons the Tesla protests, the illegal immigration protests, the Doge protests, very much dominated by white seniors.
Yes, those ones. Yes, I was gonna say. I was like protesting. I think is just because you see the Free Palestine, and they seem to be like younger, more.
Yeah.
But
that's sort of a separate issue. The anti-government protests have been very much. They put out. I like to say they put out some sort of tone we can't hear on CBC Gem, and it brought everybody out to the streets.
Yeah. Well, this elbows up shit seemed to like capture the minds of these morons that are like decrepit old souls, and somehow there was like a youthful resurgence inside their fucking being. And they think like, oh, if we go out and elbows up. Like I looked at that and
that means.
Pardon me?
Does anybody know what that means?
No, none of them know. Half of them can't even get their elbows up. You seen these old goons walking around? They needed to take like 6 arthritis pills just to get their elbows past their hips, for Christ's sakes. Telling me elbows up. You ain't doing shit. Enough. And then now they look like idiots. Just walking around like, you see that? I love Karima stuff. She captures so much great stuff. Like the elbows up. You're just standing in line to go into like a campaign stop, and you're yelling this like, you're doing it, you old bird. A fucking wind could take you out.
Which is funny because that girl's like, I don't know. I don't follow her too much. Like I know who she is.
Yeah.
And it's funny when the leftists attack her just for like literally being there, even though she's a hardcore leftist from what I understand. But that's just the nature of the beast, is like, there's just something wrong with Toronto. There's something wrong with that city. And the people who are like, this is great. This is the right place to be. I can't afford anything. It's super crowded. No one here speaks English, but I love it. At least there's a gay street.
Yeah. Oh.
Speaking of gay streets, let's move on to Jeffrey Epstein. And I had a complaint that, maybe you're not paying attention to this stuff, but I had a complaint that a lot of the Trump appointees are not living up to the hardcore nature which they said they were going to govern. I give credit to RFK Jr. I think he's done a great job. He's removing the dice, and he's getting the people healthy, and he's doing lots of great stuff, I think. But in terms of like the FBI director in particular, I haven't seen him do much. He's been at Washington Capitals games. He's been at UFC events, but what has he done really? I think they had a bust of human trafficking, which of course is good, but I saw something recently regarding the Epstein files and the Epstein whole thing, and there's a couple clips here, which I didn't, let's call it an interesting answer.
Jeffrey Epstein hang himself, or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Kash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as CSAM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And that's just too indicative of what we've heard for years. We don't want to put it... First of all, when does the government say, we don't want to put out irrelevant information? We're really hard to keep the paper stacks a little bit shorter. That was a problem for me, and there's another one I want to get to. But to me, that's sort of like... Your wife leaves you at home with the kids, and she comes home, the window's open, the kids are gone, the Ring doorbell wasn't working, and your cell phone is off, and the husband's just like, I don't know what happened. even though the window's open, only a crack, no human could fit through there. I don't know how the kids are gone. I don't know why my phone was off. I must have just unplugged the Wi-Fi. And the wife's just like, I believe you. That's what I think we're working with here. When like really the Epstein case is the one that we're now going with the official story on.
Yeah. Well, because let's be honest, because all of them, the list of names that are probably attached to that would destroy everything that America's built on right now. Like, think of the people that he was surrounding himself with, just the photographs alone. Like, we know who he's been photographed with, and like, what's the angle? Of course, we don't want irrelevant information getting out there, because then the public might know how many of us actually do fuck kids.
I just can't believe he talked so much shit about the intelligence agencies before he got into office. I don't know how much you've seen of that guy, but he was on like the former Navy SEALs show. That was the big clip going around when he was getting nominated for the position, about him saying, let's take down the FBI. And that was another thing. Like, at least RFK has made things happen. The FBI is still there. The Department of Education is still there. And I have these complaints. You can complain about, Trump and J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. They're actually, at least they're doing things whether you agree with it or not. RFK is doing things whether you agree with it or not. Where are these guys who talk so much shit? What are they doing? Now we're falling back on Epstein. There's another clip where they talked about it, and him and Dan Bongino, who somehow landed in this spot, I don't know how, of like assistant FBI director. They're defending it again.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
Oh, yeah.
He killed himself. Again, you want me to I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
And
what does the segregated housing have to do with somebody dying in a prison? That's what I don't understand. Or in a jail. And notice he said file. I've seen the file. We didn't see... Show me the video up to where the video cuts off and after where it cuts off. And if people forget, cut off video when he hangs himself, guards not there, hangs himself with the sheets, which I believe are designed so that you can't hang yourself with them, from a distance of a top bunk, which would be very hard to hang yourself from.
Mm-hmm.
What am I missing?
A lot. A lot. You haven't seen the file. That's why.
Have you seen the files? There's nothing there.
Yeah.
That's
listen, we've got files.
That's the green zone with Matt Damon about the weapons of mass destruction. Have you been to the sites? There's nothing there. That was a good quote for a long time. This is my complaint when people, especially Trump supporters and especially people like me who are just like, trust these decisions, and you take these people at their word about what they're going to do. Oh, we're going to shut the whole FBI down. Actually, we're going to take away one of the offices in DC, and then Epstein killed himself. That's about all we can do, I think.
Yeah. Just believe me. Just believe me.
A little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
Everything leading up to this day, you think there has been a lot of lies. Were there weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? No. Did a international sex trafficker who is deeply involved in philanthropy and rubs elbows with some of the top officials, top scientists, you name it, they've been to the parties, kill himself? Come on, guys. I've seen the files.
He's trying to keep it. The JFK files were like 80 gigs or something. He's trying to keep it lower than that. We need the one PDF on where the guards were. Yeah. We need the one PDF on, or really just a video of when he allegedly, like, his body afterwards, and the video leading up and after when the cameras cut out conveniently.
How about just like a video of the, like, show us the autopsy.
Yeah, that too.
Show us the dead body.
And then we'll have to George Floyd that and get a second autopsy
Yeah.
And it turns out Jeffrey Epstein was passing counterfeit bills and may have been using fentanyl. Sorry, everyone. Sorry. Turns out he had a long criminal history. Did you see the Prince Andrew stuff recently where, I don't know, somebody confirmed. It was a James O'Keefe undercover video where some guy who was married to his ex-wife said that he definitely, allegedly, but this guy said he definitely was sleeping with underage girls, Prince Andrew. Have you seen his daughters, the princes?
No, I have not.
Oh, I've got a treat for you. The word centaur comes to mind.
Oh, God.
Maybe I'm just definitely Princess Beatrice is one. I want to find the specific picture that makes it.
Beatrice.
Yeah. Okay, here's one. This is such a mean podcast. I don't know why we're doing this.
I mean, that's like what, a British 10?
I can't, there's two of them together, two sisters.
You're not telling me you spent 3 weeks in Fort Mac, you would fuck that.
Fort McMurray, Alberta?
Yes.
It's a good-looking family, all right? It's a good-looking family. Prince Charles be damned. Jeffrey Epstein, Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew, if you're not familiar, is the one who said he couldn't sweat, so he couldn't possibly have been sweating on a dance floor or something with an underage girl. He said he had... You didn't hear this? He said he can't sweat because he has PTSD from being on a ship during the war with the Falkland Islands. He never got off the ship, but he was in the Navy during the 2 days or whatever they were at war with the Falkland Islands with Argentina. And since then, he just can't sweat. So that's impossible that this girl's recollection of him being very sweaty.
You can't sweat because you're a reptile.
I loved those days. Heck, I love the days of the mid 2000s when it was like with guy Obama security guard, clear reptile. If you watch closely, you can see the Queen's eyes shift left to right.
Yeah,
they have to do that
this way.
Yeah. The rule, I believe, was for those reptilians was that, which was George Bush, the Queen, and the Prime Minister of England, Tony Blair. The rule was they had to switch into the reptilian form for 20 minutes a day. In order to be able to be shapeshifters. That was the rule back then.
It's in the files.
It's in the files. Let's bump on over to Hillary Clinton, who's still alive for some reason, still telling us stuff. And she has a new theory that illegal immigrants are better than natural-born citizens, which is an interesting theory. She says people who produce more children are illegal immigrants typically, and therefore right-wing people should want more of them because they want they want people who are born in North America or the United States to have more children to increase the population. She starts off in this clip by saying that that's a bad thing. She's like, can you believe they want you to have more kids? And then she goes on to say that illegal immigrants have more kids, and so right-wingers should love that. And then she goes on to say all the benefits of having kids for the economy. The reason the economy's done so well is because they've brought in so many people with more kids. So on one hand, if you're a white or a black person, having kids is bad. If you're an illegal immigrant, having lots of kids is good. So cut me off here if you've got something to say.
Okay.
As I posted the other day, this very blatant effort to basically send a message, most exemplified by Vance and Musk and others, that, what we really need from you women are more children. And what that really...
More children? Are you kidding me?
Don't you want to be like Chelsea Handler?
Or her daughter, Chelsea Clinton? So that's the first part. Even if 33% of women want to have a kid, even though it's obviously higher than that, you're just being like, isn't that retarded that they think you want to have children? So right off the bat, she's just like, well, anyone who wants to have a kid is obviously crazy. And the fact that they'd ask you to have kids, that's crazy too.
That's how it
means
simple.
is you...
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's how like simple and easily manipulated like white women can get. Is like you put this old bag up there that, is inherently just a criminal through and through, who's lied through her teeth, over and over again. But the only thing that unites them is this hatred towards Donald Trump. So like anything that comes out of her mouth is just like, yeah, what she said. I'm going to fight against the patriarchy and not use my pussy anymore. It's like, nah, nobody cares. Like, I've got a joke about that. It's like those women that were like out parading around and being like, as soon as that 4B movement popped up, like none of them really were like, oh no, fuck. Oh God, what are we going to do? You know, oh, this abundantly fucking large, this orb of flesh isn't going to open her gap anymore and let multiple men just pound the Christ out of it. Who's going to abort the child anyways? You know, that seems to be what they be chanting in the streets. They're like, abortions. Even them. You know, look at the front lines of an abortion protest. None of them are like, you wouldn't handpick them out to be a Victoria's Secret angel. You know what I mean?
That doesn't exist anymore. That's sexist.
Yeah, but let's rewind it to 2006 and let's take those the protests. And you and I got to sift through, and we got to pick one, okay? That could compete, at least compete. It ain't gonna happen.
What I find interesting is that it's been really hammered in that without, as evil as they may be, without the Bidens, without the Obamas, without Hillary, and all these people, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, without them giving them direction, the Democrat Party, looking to their youth of Bernie Sanders, even though he's independent, and AOC, they really can't get together to do anything. At least with Hillary, we had structure, you know. At least with Hillary, she didn't make any sense, but it was clear Donald Trump is the enemy, feminism is the way to go, illegal immigration is spectacular. Forget what she said 10 years before that, because it was the exact opposite. But at least with them in place, they had some direction. And you're seeing that from Hillary here. It's been a decade. She still hasn't given up, because she can see that as long as she gets up there and says something and gets some sort of coordination going, even if it's, hey, most of you women in the audience, you want to have kids? What are you, a moron or something? At least she had some sort of clear direction that they were driving towards.
Yeah, coming from a woman who has kids, keep in mind.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, they're so delusional and set in their ways that they don't even recognize the shit that they're saying almost. That or it's like calculated. I feel like it is overly calculated because it's like the women that they are rallying are just like, they take that as like gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you can't have children. We can't have more white colonizers on the land. It's like, enough with this.
So
the people that I see that seem to be the most happy are parents now. Like, I'm at the age now where most of my friends have 2 to 3 kids, and they've removed politics out of their life. They're still like somewhat politically involved due to like the education system and what they're teaching children in some of these schools. So they're like involved in that manner of like what affects the nuclear family.
Yeah.
But for the most part, most of them are quite happy. Like, they're enjoying fatherhood. They're enjoying motherhood. They put a lot of time into raising their kids, and they give a shit. And like, there's something fulfilling about that. You finally have purpose. Because I don't think anybody in their right mind wakes up one day and be like, my purpose on this earth is to be a receptionist at a Holiday Inn. You know, like, nobody. That's my purpose, to check people into this rundown hotel that has blood stains in the fucking lobby. You know, like, this is my purpose. No, they do that because it provides a life for these kids, and they get fulfillment out of them playing sports or being involved with something in the arts, whatever it may be, and their children become their life. You know, and the people that are truly happy, I find, are the ones that are raising kids. Because like, if we handpicked 5 of those women that are sitting there listening to Hillary Clinton, and we quiz them about their life, what do you do? Do you feel like your life has purpose? And you start to dig in, and like, you can easily tell when that question comes up and be like, are you happy? And be like, oh yeah, I'm happy. They get immediately defensive right away and be like, I get to wake up on a Saturday afternoon and I go to brunch with my girlies. And it's like, okay, that sounds like a good time, I guess, but that only lasts for an hour. What do you do after that? Well, I have plenty of free time. They're like, oh, what do you do with your free time? Wouldn't you like to know? Like, Yeah, I do, because you're telling me you're happy, but you're getting overly defensive when I'm asking you about your happiness. Meanwhile, if I grabbed, let's say, a couple that has like 2 kids with them and be like, "Are you happy?" They're going to be completely honest. Be like, "Yeah, this is pretty stressful. I'm not going to lie. Like it does. Like some days I just want to strangle these fucking kids, but I love them." And they're like, "Oh, at least it's honest."
And Hillary's going to get into more here, I believe, about the nuclear family and how she again. And I predicted when I first watched this on the Forgotten episode where she finishes telling how bad it is that for people to want a nuclear family, and then it ends up saying how great it is actually if you're an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
Should go back to doing what you were born to do, which is to produce more children. And they're talking about, cash benefits for the more children you have. This has been tried, by the way, in other countries, and it has not worked. Or medals if you have 6 children. While they're
Ethiopia.
Hungary, she's not wrong about that. Hungary has tried it, and they were giving $3,000 away, I think, per kid, and it didn't work, unfortunately. And at the 4th kid, you would get no income tax forever for the mother, but it hasn't spiked their population, it seems.
Isn't Russia doing the same thing, though?
I don't know. Russia's fascist, so how am I supposed to know?
Oh, right. Yeah. My apologies. I guess that really makes me out to be the person that they say I am by bringing up Russia in this. My apologies.
Put a pin in Russia, because I have a hockey story that you'll find hilarious about that in a second. But
okay.
Hillary's got more wisdom here.
Of course.
Contemplating cutting Medicaid. While they have no interest in paid family leave or funding quality child care, they're cutting Head Start. I mean, you go down the list of all the programs that support child rearing and the care of children and create, some safety net for women who are in the workforce, the formal workforce, as well as, raising children. So this is another performance about concerns they allegedly have for family life. But if you had read the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, despite Trump saying he knew nothing about it, if you had read it, it's all in there. It's all in there. Return to the family, the nuclear family, return to being a Christian nation, return to, producing a lot of children, which is sort of odd because the people who produce the most children in our country are immigrants, and they want to deport them. So none of this adds up. But, one of the reasons why our economy did so much better than comparable advanced economies across the world is because we actually had a replenishment, because we had a lot of immigrants, legally and undocumented, who had a, larger than normal, by American standards, family. So this is just another one of their, make America great again by returning to the lifestyles and the economic arrangements of not just the 1950s. I mean, let's keep going back as far as we can and, see what happens.
So we can skip over her bullshit about, them wanting to make these cuts and everything, because that's largely not true. So right there, she says it. It's bad for them to want to return to the 50s and 60s when you guys were having a whole bunch of kids. But actually, the reason why our economy has done so well is because of all the immigrants we brought in and have tons of children, and they've not replaced. Nobody said replace. We've replenished your water. You don't replace your beer with a new one. You replenish it. Nobody's saying replacement here. We're saying replenishment. So it's good that illegal immigrants have lots of kids to make the economy robust. But the government asking people to have more kids so that we don't have to rely on illegal immigration and regular immigration for their children, that's bad. Bad for Americans, good for foreigners. Yeah. And then the term replenish there is absolutely insane to say that. We're replenishing, you guys, for when you're falling short. Yeah,
well, I don't know. It seems like 1950s America was thriving opposed to what they are now. And your grandfather in those times could have a job repairing appliances around the house and have the ability to also provide for a family of 6. Your mom didn't need to work. She just it was a different time there. So like compare, and that doesn't sound horrible. And now I'm even seeing like a spike of like young women being like, dude, what the fuck? This feminism shit is retarded.
My girlfriend thinks they shouldn't vote at or work in the government.
Bro, like I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I'll let her know.
Because like honestly, you know what? If let's say, okay, let's rewind in time. I'm a woman now. We can do this, right? We can role play.
Yeah.
We can have fun. It's 2025, and you'd have to believe me because I'm saying it, and it's how I feel in this moment. But let's say, anyways, I'm born a woman, and I'm presented two paths. Okay, one path is I get to be a boss babe. I'm going to be alone. I'm going to have some sort of like animal that I'm going to attach myself to, so I can get some form of love. But then as time goes on, I realize my worth is diminished. And I know this is like the talking point of like red pilled bros, but this is the hypothetical situation that I'm painting here. Okay.
Yeah, as long as you don't lead to Islam at the end of the sentence, and I think you're not the same. You're not the same as those guys.
No. Far from, actually. And then that comes with strenuous work. No matter what the work is, let's say whatever the job is, boss bitch, CEO, whatever that is. Or my other path is like, yo, you can have 3 kids, chill. Dude's going to be working. You just get to hang out, eat snacks, stay remotely in shape. So this guy isn't, like look like you kind of did when you started the relationship. Don't let it fucking dwindle. Don't get fat is what I'm saying.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Is it that hard? You work out for an hour while the kids are sleeping. And I know this is like probably extremely misogynistic to some ears, but then like your day is just filled like taking care of the kids, keeping the house in order. Bro, I would much rather do that opposed to any jobs I've had in my past life prior to being a comic.
He wants to put women back in the kitchen. He can't help it.
We want them pumping out kids. We want them taking loads, lots of loads.
Your eyes say Robert De Niro, but your voice said Trump there.
Yeah.
That's my Robert De Niro, huh?
Chuck said he turned gay.
Yeah, he certainly did. I heard somebody say who is in the entertainment industry that he can't think without a script. So that was an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, okay. I'd believe that. Most of them can't.
But the women, what's interesting about the hardcore workaholic woman archetype is that, sure, live to 110 and live your best life if you think that's amazing. But if Hillary Clinton is at least talking to a third of women who want to have kids, she's telling them that they're shit if they want to have kids. Why would you have kids? I forget that I had a kid and I stuck with my husband even though he, you make me swear and be more vulgar, so I'm trying to stop. He had intercourse with a woman on his desk, and I stuck with him. And what's more nuclear Christian family than sticking it out in your marriage no matter what? And we had the family business, and my daughter's successful because of our wealth. But you guys, you shouldn't have any kids. And the other interesting thing is, in order for these women to have this opportunity to live a life on their own without kids, other people have to have kids. So It's just like these people do not exist if other people do not take the path that they do not want to take. And I think that's incredibly interesting, incredibly contradictory for Hillary Clinton to come up here and just be like, don't have kids. That's stupid. But we need more people with kids. Unfortunately, that's going to, we're going to need to India you up a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm. You want to know what would be the best campaign to keep the family together is, you know what? I should come out and just say, listen, I am the product of a divorce. Okay. I am, look at this face. You see this? This is what happens when your mother and father split. So ride it out. Do you want your child to grow up and be like me?
It's true.
Do you want that? Do you think it's cool that the news is saying that a comedian known for racist jokes is coming to your town? Is that what you want?
Are you sure that you want a guy who is quoted as saying diddlin with an apostrophe? Great apostrophe usage on whichever one of you guys wrote that, but
that would be I.
that makes it funnier. Then diddling sounds more serious and accusatory. Diddlin. Now we're working in like fast food territory. Like chicken fries.
These people are. That's how dumb they are. It's like you print that, you know. Yes, of course you're gonna get the 10% are gonna like, what the fuck is this? But then I'd say 60 to 70% of people that would read that on ours, like maybe don't even know us, and they're like, that is kind of funny.
Exactly.
Saying that a porn operation is a Jewish psyop.
You know as well as I know, if you're sitting there writing something, you've got the voice in your head that says, should I be saying this? Is this true enough? Am I skipping? How do these people turn that off when they're writing this stuff? No, I just have to get it out there. The people of Halifax are relying on me. I need to get the word out. I need to tell them where they're performing next so we can let's get our mail chimps going. All the emails we can, ladies.
Yeah, I certainly I should have known after I seen that land acknowledgement prior to those missing kids that I was walking into a hornet's nest out there. As soon as that came out, like
the land acknowledgement is a good sign of what you're about to get into.
Prior to a press release about 2 missing children out in the woods, is this the necessary time to do this?
And the Wantanox and the
you know what I love the
most?
Bro, have you watched that video?
Of the police officer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch like 5 minutes after that?
No.
After so they put her right in the ring of fire. So they made her do the land acknowledgement and acknowledge that African, oceans, that their contribution to the province is recognized.
That's right.
And immediately after she says that, she brings up a different officer. So they just literally threw her to the wolves to be like the fall person on that one. I would have loved to have been in the room where they're like, okay, who's going to do the land acknowledgement? And then everybody kind of puts their head and they're
Susan.
Like, yeah, you have to do it. They put the woman up to this to just make it matters even worse. Like that poor lady, you can see how nervous she is reading it. Like she knows that this is not going to end well.
The funny thing is that you're not going to find an African guy who believes in that sort of shit. I knew 2 African guys in the army. One was Eritrean, one was Somali, and the one would be like, Chapados, this is bullshit. Why do they say these things? And then the other guy's African, but he's from Toronto, and he just hated all of that stuff.
Yeah, we like representing the 6, dog.
He doesn't talk like that. I hate that stupid fake accent all over the videos. Where it's like, what's the best accent in Toronto? It's like they're retarded teenagers who have pretended that this accent actually exists.
It's on Jane and Finch, Crody.
I don't even know what Crody would be. How's Edmonton doing India-wise? Because it's bad here.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's bad. It's gotten bad. Yeah.
The rest of the world's starting to notice.
Oh, big time, man. They are definitely noticing. Because I'm seeing Austin comics do jokes about Canada being India now.
I saw it. Yep.
It's gotten to there. So now they're making fun of us for being practically New Delhi at this point. Newer Delhi.
Yeah, I think it was when I saw Ben Bankus on something. He did an India joke, and this was like a year ago, and they didn't understand. They didn't get it yet. Mm-hmm. And now, you do see more as a pretend comedian that I am. I love when those things used to happen. You'd have somebody on a show and claiming to be a comedian as a host. Like Stephen Colbert probably claims to be a comedian or something.
Yeah.
And then just never does it. You know, Bill Maher said the other day, and he is a real comedian, but he said he's never done more than 1 show in a night. And I thought that was pretty wild for a comedian to say. Yeah. Because he fears saying the same joke more than once.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
In fact, you write the joke for the purpose of that tour of the joke. And then hopefully you're in a position where in a year you can release a special or something.
Yeah, I'm guessing that has to do with his having lines on the floor whenever he does it. But I feel like I might, if I was a musician or something, I'd forget. Lil Wayne doesn't know his lyrics, so that's the bar I'm putting it at. But he said he didn't want to repeat the same joke in the same set because he wouldn't be able to remember if he had done it already, if he had done it earlier in the night.
Gotcha.
So, which apparently happens if you're doing like 8 shows in a weekend or something. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. The hockey thing I wanted to bring up, hard segue. The hockey thing I wanted to bring up regarding Russia is you remember Dominic Hasek, right?
Yes.
How could you not?
Yeah.
Dominic Hasek believes that in order to allow Russians to play in the NHL, they should have to disavow Russia. Dominic Hasek is
Say that again, sorry?
Dominic Hasek believes that Russian players should not be allowed to play in the NHL because of the war, and and the only way they should be allowed is if they disavow Russia.
He's saying this as a Russian? He's Russian, right?
He's Czech.
Oh, he's Czech.
Yeah, he's a 60-year-old man who's like got the politics of like a 16-year-old blue hair.
Yeah.
If those even exist anymore.
Wait,
it's wild.
What does it matter?
I don't know. He's just one of these crazy Ukraine supporters. Not even like, and he's not Ukrainian.
Yeah,
so he's like one of these people that tweets like my dad. He's like my
he's
dad or something on
of
Facebook.
The left.
Yeah, he's just like, this isn't good enough. We need a treaty faster. And then when like peace talks happen, he's like, oh, it seems like they're getting talking points directly from the Kremlin. This shouldn't happen. We can't be giving Russia anything. He might as well be, like he is. I shouldn't say he might as well be, but if you look at his Twitter, it's just that level of Ukraine obsession, and it's just wild to see from an old lovable hockey player, once lovable.
Yeah, and who cares? You know what? You're paying these guys to play fucking hockey. You know who in the right? Is that what we want? Is that where we're at now? Is it what you want? Connor McDavid's take on the fucking war in Gaza? Is that where we're gathering around and be like, you know, you had an excellent game tonight, Connor. 2 goals, 1 assist, you plus minus a 3. We're really, you know, your play is really taken off in this past year. The boys are moving on to the semifinals in the conference, or the conference semifinals. We were just wondering, what are your thoughts on Benjamin Netanyahu?
Well, you know, I brought the Israeli flag in with me today, and a couple other players brought their Palestine flags, and it's fine.
Yeah,
I've got beef with McDavid, but I'll leave it alone because of you, and I want you guys to be featured on ice one night.
Yeah,
which is coming. It's coming during the finals. Now, coming up at Center Ice, divert your attention to a racist comic trio singing the song about fat chicks. The problem I have with the Leafs hack, and I'll let you go after this.
Okay.
Because it's getting late here in India. I live in India. You live in Alberta.
It's India, just different parts. I believe that you're in like Amritsar and I'm in New Delhi.
Yeah, our caste systems are clashing. Our tribes are going to war soon. Someone recently asked me why I stopped being a Leafs fan. And I had to recreate my research as to why I stopped being a Leafs fan, and I found more stuff that I didn't like. So in 5 minutes of Googling, I was able to find 8 different instances of the Leafs players being activists, pro transgender and pro over the top. Like no sane person is just like, let's hate the gays, right? No sane person is just going out and doing that. The Leafs go above and beyond everything. They, Morgan Riley got accused of calling somebody a fag on the ice.
Oh, God.
Video came out that he didn't, but he still said, you know what, I need to walk in the pride parade with this gay hockey group. And then they said they're going to promote some junior player in his causes for BLM and gay pride. And Austin Matthews, when the first openly gay player got drafted, Austin Matthews texted him and said, I can't wait to play alongside you or against you. And there's 8 different instances of this where the Leafs are just going above and beyond in their own time to support the craziest stuff. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I have enough pain. Like the Leafs just lost again. I have enough pain already. This is like 3 years ago. Why do I need to have them hurt me in the sport and then hurt me in real life? So I just disavowed. I'm 19 years old. After 19 years, surprised you let that one go. After 19 years, I gave them up.
After 19 years. That's what it took, huh?
I just turned 20 last week. You know that.
Yes. I mean, we can see it in the wig.
Oh,
so that's why you're abandoning them is more so of
I did.
I
did abandon them because, it's too much. It's too much. Remember when Kyle Dubas said that they wished they had more black players? It's fine if you have black players, but why do you wish you had more? That's weird.
Okay, then assist black kids in the hood. Fucking, that's where they're going to come from. Put a hockey rink in ghettos and give them the opportunity to play.
There are no ghettos.
I'm talking like in the United States. Obviously,
that's fair.
You know what? There's like, give them an opportunity to play hockey.
I believe they did that in Mighty Ducks 2. No,
Yeah.
1 and 2.
When they went down to South Central and they played roller hockey against them. And you
then
seen how good they were? It was a glove. Stick.
That opened the door for the Knuckle Puck kid.
Yep.
Whom I don't believe. No, wait, Goldberg is who I'm thinking of. Knuckle Puck kid was black. Goldberg, I don't know what he is. Shout out Sean Weiss.
I think, he was Indian facing.
Passing?
Or passing, sorry. Facing sounded funnier.
It is. He's got India face.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It'll be crazy if the audio is fucked up on this one too. I just won't tell you that. I'll just only upload your parts, and then fill in with like a voiceover.
Yeah,
I've been seeing a lot of these YouTube channels where they'll just steal an entire podcast and then add in 30 seconds of audio. I really agreed with what Uncle Hack is saying here. He's really been able to parse the dichotomy of the two sides well here. Anyways, back to the podcast, and it's just the rest of the podcast being stolen. So that's what I'll do with this one, I think.
Okay.
Danger Cat's on tour, bringing racist things and hateful speech everywhere across the country.
Yep.
You're in Alberta right now?
I am, yep.
All right, you keep up the good work. I can't say go Oilers, let's go Stars, but...
rightfully so. It's an East-West thing right now, and I'm hoping to God that we do separate from this fucking dog shit nation.
Do you think that'll happen? What do you think the percentage is of yes on that?
I think it's so low that they're using it to just perpetuate this fear into people and cause it's just another division tactic in my mind. It's a very small amount of people that are vocal about it, and I don't think that it really has legs. I think it's just one of those things of I don't know, just to get people roaring. What do we have right now to keep the eyes off the true problems in the country? You need a fall woman, I guess, in this circumstance. But you have Danielle, who's kind of, I don't know. I think they're all intertwined in that this is all played out, at the end of the day. And maybe that's probably because of the conspiracy theories that have settled into my soft, smooth brain. But I don't know. It just doesn't sit well with me. And I think it has no legs, and it's just causing a conundrum for no fucking reason. It's not going to happen. They're just trying to what I find is it's like a negotiation tactic of trying to put more power in the West.
Yeah. The way that it's being run already, it's like how much worse could it get after Trudeau? But the housing minister said we don't need to bring houses down. We just need more government housing. That was an interesting one. Yeah. How far away are we from a Sam Walker run at MP or MPP?
He would never.
No, not even as a bit.
No, it wouldn't even. He wouldn't even entertain the idea, because I've thrown it around and be like, it would be funny if you ran as an MLA, and he goes, never. I don't want to be in the same realm as those evil psychopaths. Something along those lines. I know it was joked about, but he would never. Maybe as an independent, I think maybe we could convince him, but I know he wouldn't latch on to a party.
The best way is you find a small town, and then you just put him as an independent, some right-wing journalist as a conservative, and then somebody pretending to be a liberal, just so you can flood the zone and be do a whole thing about how much we hate each other. You got to choose one of us.
Yeah.
Could just be all three of you guys. The group's broken up and now we're running against each other.
Yeah, it's like that movie with Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell. You remember that? Where it was like they were political opponents.
Right. And
Yeah.
he punches a baby in the face. Terrible movie.
It was bad. I've only watched it once.
They're against each other, but the Danger Cats just started kissing. All right, we've gotten to this point where I've turned to three-way male kissing. It happens every episode. Unauthorized Opinions, Uncle Hack, and the Danger Cats. Thank you guys again. Now strike your pose for the thumbnail, young man.